Hi, everybody. This is Travis.
Hey. Oh, sorry. I was just texting. Hey, everyone. This is Jonathan.
And welcome to the 100 Ways to Love a Cat podcast.
I just need to tell Taylor's mother to get a new... And that's the podcast that always plays the song 100 Ways to Love a Cat.
Well, we think that's what we're going to keep doing anyway. I mean, if people have another idea, if all of our listeners want to tell us, you want to change it up, you want to,
Things have stabilized a little bit, I guess you could call it. So,
well, we
might need to shake things up a little bit.
We haven't so much grown, I guess, since the last podcast, but
no, we're down a little bit,
but more or less maintaining, I guess. And we had to do 20 something podcasts before we get those 9,000 listeners, right? So
and plus how many warm-ups did we do that we never put out?
We never put out there. I consider that practice as much as any. Yeah,
that was. I mean, we spent a year doing that.
Yes.
But I don't count those either. I would never want those to get out.
I'm just saying, since that what has been available for people to find, it took 20-something episodes before people warmed to, like, hey, you know what? Mm-hmm. I am going to listen to this. Mm-hmm. I am going to check this out. It took that many to get where we're at. So by those numbers and statistics, you would think if you want to double that 9,000, even though we've dropped a little bit.
We've dropped a little bit.
I mean, nothing.
I mean, we were the number last. Listen, if you're just joining us, a couple episodes ago, we were very down and out. We did not have any listeners. And then all of a sudden, a quick turnaround, number one podcast with 9,000 listeners.
In America, right?
In the world.
In the world? Oh, my God.
That includes India.
Oh, my God.
That includes Russia.
This time, I thought it was just the country. I didn't know the whole world was listening.
Australia?
I mean, it makes sense that they are. I just didn't put those two things together. I need to start talking to Tyler Taylor, I guess, because I don't. It kind of filters through you, and I don't. It's probably my fault. I'm not hearing something, but
it makes a difference if you're number one, and then you go down to number 83, where we're at now.
Well,
and when you lose a few, and then some people kind of leapfrog you, and then all of a sudden you own an apartment complex, and you can't afford to pay the person who's managing it for you.
Maintenance, yeah.
And then I'm having to go out, and I'm telling Tyler Taylor's mother, who's supposed to be retired, but apparently she has a part-time job, so she can't do everything I need her to do, so I've got to go to Home Depot and buy a toilet for somebody who broke a toilet.
You have to screen those people before you let them move in. Into
my podcast time.
Well,
I don't need.
Being a landlord has a lot of priorities to it. It's a serious. There's a lot of things you have to take very, very seriously.
Do you know that if somebody is told you can't have pets, and then they move in with pets, and then the previous owner of the apartment building's like, well, I told them. Do you know that Have you ever tried to find a lawyer? Do you even know how you do that?
It's been a long time since I've been in a position where I
and not a court appointed like you had, like
right. You're talking about just hiring, like going to an office
for
and
a rich
saying,
person gets a lawyer.
No, I don't know, no, nothing about that.
Not like they bring in whoever just hangs around there trying to.
No, I've never done that. I probably should. I definitely should.
Listen, there's two kinds of lawyers. One eats out of the vending machine at the courthouse, and the other eats expensive meals that are written about in newspapers. Yeah. That's the kind of lawyer I need.
Right.
Oh, my God. What a nightmare.
Well, that's when you put on a lot of hats. Your head is always got one of them on, and that's, you're doing the podcast now, but you're worried about that, and I understand how it is.
Well, look, we should be talking about the song. We should be talking about whatever it is we do, the chitter-chatter at the beginning. How's your castle?
It's fine, and let's be clear, it's not a real castle. I don't call it. I call it the castle. We call it the castle. It is. It's a house, but it looks like a castle.
It has rocks on the outside and a moat.
Mm-hmm. And this man made it with his bare hands. I used to drive by it all the time.
And eccentric.
As a kid. Yes, he's a little eccentric. And still lives on the grounds, which is fine.
Oh.
No,
Well,
I
when are
allowed
you
that.
gonna
Well, he's
let him
lived there
know?
his whole life. But as a kid, I always used to drive. One day, I used to make a joke to my parents. I'm going to own that castle, Mom.
What did they say to you?
They didn't. They just kept driving. They didn't listen. But anyway, as I said, like when I was a kid, I always thought about it, and I was in a position, you know what? I have to stay true to my dreams, even if they were dreams that I had when I was 9 years old. Those are still dreams. It doesn't matter how old you are when you dream. They're still dreams. And I went out there, and he was very reasonable, which I've come to find out why since I've moved in. There's some, damage here, damage. We both have issues. You think once somebody makes it to easy street, then it's easy. But once you get to easy street, sometimes things get hard.
Easy Street, I think, now that I'm on it, is a joke, and it's sort of sarcastic, and they mean Hard Street.
They're winking at you when they say, you're on Easy Street, wink, wink.
But you don't pick up on that until you're there.
When you're actually there, you go, what you meant was
it's like
Hard
a
Street,
success
difficult
code.
street. Yeah, it is success
It
code.
is difficult street.
Yeah. But, again, you keep going. You keep going ahead. You keep striving to do what you need to do. Like I said, that's when we kept going. Well, we did give up. But as soon as we gave up is when good things started happening. So I'm not I'm not ready to give up yet because, there's some – the damage –
should give up.
There's flooring damage, and there's again. He's helping with that. He lives on the
But he didn't
property.
even do it right the first time.
Well, I know, but
he's just a crazy person who wanted to live in a knight.
Yeah, but he made a castle though, didn't he?
And that moat stinks.
Regardless how sturdy it may be, it is definitely still a castle. The moat does. We're going to have that drained. I think is what I'm looking.
Are you
going to
leave it just as an open trench?
Either that or fill it with dirt. One of the two. I don't know. Or,
dirt.
Clean water if that's possible. I don't know if that's possible in that area, but if it's...
Think about the water bills.
Well, that's true.
But I guess it doesn't matter.
Well...
It shouldn't be that hard because have you ever seen those cat things, the bubble ups, the cat... You put the water and it just kind of rotates through the whole system of it. It's like a bowl of fresh water for
the
your
cats. Yes.
Well, you could do that.
On a larger scale, sure.
And you'd have cats all over the place. That'd be fun.
Nothing wrong with having cats around, regardless whether you're on top, bottom, middle, wherever you may be.
You can get Mickey to do the to watch the cats for you instead of messing up the electric.
Well, he's not messing it up. He's just... He never had it fixed to begin with. It's not like he went in there and now I'm going to mess it. No, it wasn't working. It's never working, so he just needs to.
Here's what I like about your situation. If you don't mind me jumping in, just let me take
not at all.
For a second.
I appreciate your advice. I'm happy to give any advice that you may need on your.
I'd love to hear it.
Tenants, but go ahead.
Get rid of the sludge in the moat.
Well, I'm going to do that regardless.
Make it a fresh, bubbling cat fountain.
If at all possible, I have to look into the cost of that,
Bulldoze that insanity and just get a nice penthouse somewhere.
Huh. Well, it's something to think about.
Listen,
I appreciate the advice. I cherish it, and I will think about it.
Think about when Bruce Wayne is happy. He's not happy in that old house where the bats live underneath it. Who would be? That's memories of all the dead people.
Yeah.
And then he's got all that stuff down there, like the trophies and the bats. Come on. And the butler. It's all just old and it stinks and it's terrible.
Stink. Yeah, it always looks like it stinks in there. Yeah.
But when he's living in the penthouse and in downtown. The city Gotham City, and he's just in the penthouse, and he's a bachelor, and he's having fun, and then he just goes out and beats up on the criminals or whoever he wants to.
Really, yeah.
That sounds like fun. It's clean. It's new. He's on top of the world. I just hit the microphone. We need to
be careful.
Can we do something with these?
Well, there's a lot that you need to do with your apartment complexes. There's a lot that I need to do with my castle.
Just go
there's
down
a lot
to-
we need to do with these devices that we use, and that's the reason I'm going to say. And I know not all of you are, not all 9,000 of you are listening like you once were, but if you know someone else that used to listen that was part of that 9,000, tell them to come back. Tell them what they're missing.
I need a little more cash flow. And
We need to get
honesty.
those numbers back up. So we really would appreciate you telling your friends. And I know because there's so many of you, I'm sure you have several friends that listen to the 100 Ways to Love a Cat podcast. And here's a way. Let me just give you some advice how to do it so you don't sound like you're coming down hard, kind of like we do now. You say, hey, did you hear the last episode or what those guys were saying on the last episode of 100 Ways to Love a Cat? Well, if they are listening, they'll say, "Why, sure," and so on and so on. But like you said, you can catch them there. I missed that one.
Oh, right. I was busy.
Right. That's what. Yes, you tell them. Oh, well, it's still there. You need to go. It's still on the computer because, like you said, once you put it out there, it's out there. Go listen to it now.
Don't say you need to. That's bad. That's pushy and desperate. But
Right.
what you want to. Oh, well, you want to go do that right now.
Yes. And you tell it was so great. Even if you yourself were too busy to listen to it, I trust that you will eventually go listen to it. So you can go ahead and tell someone else that hasn't listened to it yet, you should listen to that because...
That's a trick I've learned since
me too.
things shifted for me personally and professionally is you don't have to be telling the truth 100% of the time.
No.
You can just waltz into a situation and make people feel bad and tell them what they need to do.
With the truth.
And based on lies. Like you can say, I listen to this. It's great. You want to do that. I'm off. I have to go to the salon. And then they'll go, yeah, I got to go. He said he's successful. He told me what to do. And the truth is, maybe you haven't had time yourself. I don't care. Listen, I'll be honest. If you've got 50, 60 people that you can belittle into listening to our podcast, I don't care if you listen to it. Take a break. But get out there and make those people do what you want them to.
We really do appreciate it. If you like to have this podcast, just knowing that it's out there, again, if you yourself do not necessarily listen to every episode or are too busy, but know you can get more people here, and because it'll be here when you do want to listen to it. You don't want it to go away. You want me to keep my castle. You want Jonathan to be able to
I'm not sure at this point.
Lease out.
I probably need all new tenants. I don't know how to get them out of there. I could
That's
bump
that
up
lawyer.
the rent.
Yeah, you need that lawyer. That
And honestly, Tyler Taylor's been great for us. His mother is not doing what she promised, and I'm running around doing errands for her. So people breaking toilets. I need to be. My world needs to be 100 Ways to Love a Cat.
Yeah.
Not toilets. Anyway,
Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
No. That's life. That's people want to hear how things. That's the reason people listen to podcasts. They want to hear what life is like for someone other than themselves, and they either listen to that and think, "Oh, I'm just like that person," or like, "I'm nothing like that person. I should be more like that person." It's one of the two. But let's listen to 100 Ways to Love a Cat. That's what we're here to do. We're not going to change it up. Okay, but we haven't decided to change it up just yet. We're willing to, and you can also, when you're kind of fishing for new listeners, you can they could do this or they could do that, or what do you think they should do? Enid? Just get that information to us.
Enid, and here's the song.
There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 1. Keep a tidy house for them. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 2. Be sure to clip their claws. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 3. scoop their box daily. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 4. Brush them with a hairbrush. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 5. Don't squeeze their paws hard. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 6. Give them some fresh water. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 7. Let them have a fish. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 8. Buy them a scratching post. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 9. Put them in your lap. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 10. Be quiet when they're sleeping. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 11. Whisper, I love you. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 12. Rub their soft belly. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 13. Make sure their tail is clean. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 14. Give them a yarn ball. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 15. Make them a nice bed. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 16. Buy him some catnip. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 17. Play them some music. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 18. Get them a cute collar. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 19. Make sure they're vaccinated. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 20. Take their picture. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 21. Brush their teeth. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 22. Let them watch TV. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 23. Don't let them be outside by themselves. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 24. Feed them some cat food. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 25. Make sure their eyes are clean. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 26. Put a liner in their box. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 27. Give them a mat to wipe their feet on. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 28. Don't forget them on Christmas. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 29. Make sure they're spayed or neutered. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 30. Hold them like a baby. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 31. Let them have a towel or blanket. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 32. Keep your toilet lid down. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. ways. Wait, 33. Don't let them chew on power cords. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 34. Set them by the window. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 35. Cat-proof your home. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 36. Change their litter weekly. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 37. Praise them lavishly. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 38. Never feed him chicken bones. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 39. Teach them a funny trick. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 40. Give them a toy mouse. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 41. Clean up their hairballs. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 42. Keep them away from candles. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 43. Give him a separate zone. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 44. Never play with them aggressively. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 45. Increase his cuddle time. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 46. Be sure to watch his weight. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 47. If you leave, turn on the radio. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 48. Scold him firmly but with kindness. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 49. Respond when he meows. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 50. Give them a thing of cat grass. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 51. Scratch under his chin. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 52. Remind him that you love him. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 53. Give them a box to play in. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 54. If they're old, help them get down. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 55. Let them lick you with their rough tongue. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 56. Record precious memories. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 57. Dress them up in ribbons. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 58. Give them a flea treatment. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 59. Make a vet appointment. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 60. Give them a little wet food. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 61. When they scratch you, don't get angry. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 62. Give them some private time. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 63. Treat them with respect. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 64. When he grooms himself, say good job. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 65. Let them chase a laser pointer. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 66. Clean out their ears. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 67. Never smoke around them. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 68. Buy a sturdy cat carrier. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 69. Listen to them purr. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 70. Dented by temptations. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 71. Give them your full attention. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 72. Don't trap them in the laundry basket. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 73. Let them sleep in bed with you. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 74. Make sure they're not locked in the closet. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 75. Don't let them play in plastic bags. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 76. Give them a massage. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 77. Touch him as you pass by. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 78. If he's on the couch, don't be mad. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 79. If they hate fans, turn the fan off. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 80. When there's a bird outside, say, hey, look! 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 81. Intrigue them with a funny sound. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 82. Don't forget sardine time. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 83. Let him play with your old socks. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 84. Stroke in the direction that his fur goes. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 85. Admire his long whiskers. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 86. Keep his box away from his food. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 87. Pretend that he's a piano. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 88. Don't interrupt them while they're eating. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 89. When they're scared, go and comfort them. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 90. Let him have a lick. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 91. If their breath stinks, give them greenies. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 92. Give him a ball with a bell in it. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 93. If it's hot, put ice in their bowl. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 94. Let him drink out of the sink. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 95. Don't vacuum if it scares him. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 96. Draw a picture of him. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 97. If you drop some food, it's theirs now. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 98. Read him a book. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 99. Feed him again. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 100. Just love them every day. 100 loving ways. 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 Oh, is it over?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading an email.
The song's... Oh, yeah, it's over. Okay.
Business.
I have to look at the...
I hate business.
It just... What do you call that? Dead air? Is that what they used to call that? That's when the They weren't podcasters back then. They were DJs, is what it was, and they would go to the bathroom, and a long stretch of space would be there with nothing on, and they were like, "Oh, that's dead air," and then you knew, "Oh, he's in the bathroom."
Yeah,
but we weren't in the bathroom.
No, I was.
We were just
I was
preoccupied.
distracted.
Yeah.
Do you ever wish that you could be a DJ back in those old days in the bathroom? Like that was your problem, like making it back to switch the record. Like,
I always
like you had to go to the bathroom fast. Like that's your biggest problem. Like how fast can I go to the bathroom?
When I watched WKRP and Dr. Johnny Fever, it was just such a small little booth. You know what I mean? I'm claustrophobic, and I don't know if I could stay in there all day.
No, I guess I just mean instead of the problems we have now with our success.
Oh, that.
Like do anything. Do you ever just wish, I wish I was a simple DJ, a simple-minded DJ on the radio.
Again, I just being in that.
Well, maybe not a DJ, but whatever. A farmer.
A farmer. That's open. That's open. I don't want to deal with all the planting involved. I like the animal farmers are like, but unfortunately, when you're an animal farmer, a lot of those animals you have to slaughter at some point, and I don't have it in me to do that. Even though I think it should be done, and I think people should eat animals, I'm not the man for the job.
You know, another thing I don't like is mosquitoes if you're outside all the time. You have to spray or light those candles.
The candles. And those candles can be very, very dangerous, too. If you were to light those candles around a barn and a goat or a cow kicked it over, then... And the horses will not run out. They'll stay in there and burn up because that's how... Evidently, horses aren't smart like that.
Wow. Okay. Well, you know what? I'm really glad we came back and we did this little bit at the end because I learned I'd rather be in the position I'm in now, even with all my problems, than to be a horse.
That's very true. In a fire, a horse if the barn is on fire.
It's just a horse.
They just
period.
stand there. They're not very. And I love horses. I don't mean to. Hopefully, the horse will never find themselves in that situation. But if they do, they make the wrong.
And what's funny about that choice. Is like a horse is an animal you don't have to slaughter until it breaks its leg or something.
Right, unless it's hurt and you have to. And again, when I said I think people should eat animals, I think you should be selective with the animals you eat. Let me make that clear.
Don't eat every animal.
Yeah, when all the animals that you see wrapped up in the grocery store, they're fair game. Please enjoy. I know I do.
So I guess lesson learned. I think I could be a farmer. I could be what was the other one I said?
A DJ.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't want to be either one of those things. And I don't want to be an animal, and I don't want to be a whatever, lighting a candle. I have people to do those things now. I'm sitting pretty. So thank you to everyone who listened and enjoys our song and our talking.
We are successful or semi-successful podcasters.
Less successful than we
once were, but there's always room for improvement. We're going to get right back on top, and we trust that all of our listeners that are left will help us with that goal. And we can't thank you enough for being here and listening to 100 Ways to Love a Cat and